everybody, it's me, Laura, and today we're going to go ahead and create some of Natasha's leaves. Woohoo! Okay, so right here I am starting with scratch, or I should say purely from scratch. So not scrap clay yet, but scratch clay. And so I'm just taking colors. I've got some green here, I've got some white, I've got a little beige, a little dark maroon, and we're going to just go ahead and cut all this up and then put it into one giant wad. Now, if you want to, you can go ahead and add in other colors. I've got these right here, but that does not necessarily mean that you are designated to just this. You can add in whatever colors you want. Say you don't want to do these kinds of colors at all, go ahead and pick out your own and just start chopping them up like I am here. I'm even tearing the pieces apart, and that's what you want to do. You just want a bunch of random pieces of different colored clays. Okay, so now I'm putting it into just one giant wad, and I'm going to cut this apart. I'm going to put half to the side, and that's just because there's so much here. I mean, I'm using just a little bit of clay, but when you start to put it all together, there can be a lot, even though you think you only have a small amount. Okay, so now that I've got kind of the colors I want together and everything, I've rolled it into this log. We're going to start to pinch on one side the clay to the surface of your tile. And you're going to do this, and when you get that done, you're going to wind up with a teardrop formed log. So from here, I went ahead and I just decided, okay, I want to have a real definitive kind of log in that regard, so you can kind of see that teardrop. That's what I wanted to show you. And that's what you're going to want. So I cut it on both ends, and we're going to take this little bit, and I'm just going to go ahead and take some very, make sure it's formed well into that teardrop. And then you're going to go ahead and take some dark blue clay. I'm using dark blue here instead of, or I'm going to be using some dark blue instead of black. I just decided I wanted to try something a little bit different and see if that would work just as well for my veins. So I'm taking my dark blue clay, I'm going to go ahead and put that through my pasta machine, and then we're going to wrap this small little teardrop in that dark blue. Okay, so right here you can see right at the point I have that dark blue come right down there. We're going to cut that off, and then we're going to wrap this around that teardrop and come partly up into the next section here. So what I'm going to do is I'm creating like my stem, or I should say my main vein right there. So I'm folding it, and then I'm just going to cut the extra off, and that should wrap right around. And once I do that, make sure I have a nice point on both sides, because this is a leaf type cane. And we're just going to go ahead and cut off the extra. And once I have that, I'm going to place that down onto my surface. Now, you could tell it bulged out just a little bit, but I want that flat. And we're going to go ahead and cut off the one side, and you could kind of see that main vein there in the center, match it up, and there you have your first simple Natasha leaf. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do our Natasha leaves with a twist. And this is just from scratch clay. So this was kind of that part of that wad I had set aside. And I'm just cutting it up once again, just trying to get it so it's not quite so blocky. And now that I have it rolled up yet again, I'm going to twist. So I'm punching it in, but right here I just start to twist and twist and twist one direction. And once you have that, you roll that up, and then you're going to take your rolling pin and you're going to use your fingers too, just to kind of smash it down. You're going to create this brick-like look. So it's going to be fairly long on one side and then fairly narrow on the ends. Okay, from here I'm taking some of that black, or I should say dark blue clay, and I'm going to take a section of this, and I've kind of made it into a bit of like almost a bit of a half moon, if you will, because it's flattened down somewhat. So once I do that, I'm going to wrap around some of that dark blue clay, partly up into that half moon area, but I'm going to cut it off like, oh, I want to say midway. And this is going to create again, a simple like Natasha, but this time it's going to be with that twist, and we're going to see what that looks like here in just a second. Okay, here comes the cut, and there you go. Now you could kind of tell with this particular Natasha, I didn't have a very good point. Please forgive me. But you can notice just right there, and we'll cut another one here, get a better sense of this thing. When you twist it, you really start to get lines. And I mean, you really emphasize the lines in that Natasha. And that all really comes about because of that twist. Okay, so right here we're going to already start with our brick of just scrap clay, and I'm going to cut this thing into 4 sections. So I've cut that. I'm taking my blue clay and I flattened that down into probably about a 4 on my Atlas pasta machine. So it was kind of thin. But again, these sections were kind of small too, so I didn't want a terribly big vein in there. And I should say veins that kind of branch off from the centerpiece. So I'm just going to go ahead, cut off that, lift it up. I'm going to put that blue against the next section and then put another section of blue down, and it'll be in between each one. And once you have that, you'll have all 4 of those put back together into this singular cane that has these lines going in one direction. Okay, so now that you have all the dark blue sections or lines running through this square block of scrap clay, you will now need to go ahead and wrap it up into another section of dark blue clay. So right here, I'm just taking this thing and I'm going to cut off my excess with my blade, and around the, I know I've got excess overlapping on the other side too, so I could use that, I'll take my blade like right here and cut off the excess. But you just want it all wrapped up in that dark blue clay. Okay, from here we're going to cut this corner to corner, and we're going to take one piece apart, and normally you would do this. You'd put this and make it into a leaf cane, but we can't do that. Remember, this is a Natasha. So because it's a Natasha, the only thing you're going to add in is your center vein. Now, when you go to do this, like right here, I'm cutting it up and I'm putting in that center vein. When you make that thickness of clay for that dark blue, make sure it's fairly thin. So for me, it might be maybe a 4, even a 5, because if you have 2 thicknesses of that same dark blue clay running right down the center, it's going to be pretty thick. And you may not want that middle vein to be quite so thick. So keep that in mind when you're going ahead and putting in that middle vein on this particular leaf. So you can tell right here I'm putting in a small little log of dark gold clay, and I'm using that as my registration mark. Now you're probably wondering, okay, why? Well, the thing is with this particular, this leaf, I wanted it smaller. and if I want it smaller, I need to reduce this thing. So I need to have registration marks at my points. So at the point of the leaf on both sides. And then what I can do then is I can just roll this down and roll it until into the size or the area that I really like, much better. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and I'll pinch that point yet again on those registration lines. This way then you're going to have a better sense of, okay, this is the point of the leaf and this is the other point. And then that way then you'll have your leaf form back again. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and create our Natasha, or I say our Natasha leaf, with the sections and with the twist. So this is going to get really fun. So I'm going to go ahead and twist up my scrap clay here, just twisting as I go. And once I have that done, I'll go ahead and I'll take my roller here, my acrylic roller, and create that block. Okay, once I get that block the way I like it, then I'm going to cut this into four sections. And then we're going to take our dark blue clay, we're going to flatten that out, and we're going to put a piece of that dark blue in between each of those sections. So I want you guys to notice here that dark blue, the way I'm putting it into this brick, it's going against the, the horizontal lines. So it's going absolutely vertical compared to the horizontal lines, going against it. And that's what I want you to really kind of pay attention to here, because it makes a difference in how this is done. You go on the one end from there then, and you're going to create, or I should say you're going to cut corner to corner. That is after you get done wrapping it in dark blue once again. Okay, now that you have those two sections cut, we're going to take some more of that blue clay and we're going to create that center middle vein on this particular leaf. And we're going to do it only with one section. Remember, this is a Natasha, so you're not going to form a naturally normal leaf cane. You're going to go with just one piece of this to create your Natasha leaf, because you have to have that mirroring effect. All right, here we are going to create that vein section of Natasha with the clay twisted up. However, this time we will make sure that the dark blue lines dividing each section will be following the same direction as that twist that is created. Okay, now that we got the lines in, let's go ahead and wrap this up one more time, and then we're going to cut it corner to corner, and we'll see a little bit of a difference when we do so. Okay, so let's cut this down, and there you go. We have those lines. All right, so this is very much different from the other way. I mean, if you think about it, it's you go in one direction, you get random pattern, you go in the other direction, and you get lines which are actually very predictable. You could tell just from the last section here, a very random pattern, but here you definitely get that line. So these are the results from my Natasha's leaves. Please use this for study and reference. And if you wish to see more on Natasha's leaves and see more of my videos, please check me out on patreon.com. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I'm always wondering what you guys are thinking. Otherwise, I am sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.